But even at that point, I discovered that through one of my mates who had the internet, I could get guitar chords and tabs.
I thought you were going to say something else. So you got the tabs and I got the nudes. Okay, that's fine.
Welcome to the Spaghetti Junction podcast. My name is Bruce.
My name's Gareth.
This is where we talk about things. We just don't know where they're gonna go. So, dude, it's been a while.
It has been a while, as every week is. Always a while. But yeah.
Tell me what's going on, man.
Nothing, dude.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to do in Joburg.
Well, no. I mean, level, what are we on now? 4?
3.
Oh, we're on 3 now.
Level 3.
Yeah, we got moved up.
So we're allowed out until
9.
We're allowed out of our pen.
Well, we have to be home
PM.
by 9 o'clock.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Good old little curfew.
Exactly.
It's like we're back in high school. Gotta have Susie back by.
Well, I think
9.
actually high school. I can't remember up to what age I was, but we had to be in bed by like 8, 8:30.
I remember. Yeah.
And in fact, you're in bed by 9, so I don't really think
And
it
that's
matters
now.
and that's now at your age.
Well, you know I'm in bed by 9 because there's nothing to watch on TV anymore.
That's true. Speaking of TV, this country is still trying to get my money from me for my TV license.
Wow.
But I don't watch crappy friggin' SABC crap.
But they still tell you that, eh?
No, I mean, I like 600 or something stupid. It was like, I don't even watch TV. I watch my Netflix. That's my TV.
And this is the thing, that the SABC, for those of you outside of South Africa, that is the South African Broadcasting Corporation.
Wow, tell you how.
It's in so much trouble right now, it's not even funny.
Oh, it's been for a long time.
I'm surprised anybody's still got a job there.
So now they're trying to get as much money as they can.
And so, yeah, for all you international listeners,
they freaking hunt us.
They still want us to buy, when we buy a TV from our local wherever, they still want us to produce a TV license supplied by the SABC. And considering that hardly anyone watches actual broadcast television anymore,
yeah.
Even though we're South Africa, we still have Netflix and all of that. And so I don't think anyone's paying TV licenses.
Yeah, what the problem is that they will have, what are they called? Debt collectors phoning you, for your 500 or 600 rand,
threatening to break
and it's
your
like
kneecaps.
It's like, for goodness sakes, people.
Yeah.
Like, there are important things in life to spend $600 on, and it's definitely not on SABC. The only reason why I got one is because to buy a TV, you have to have one.
Exactly,
you
and
have
that's the monopoly that they hold.
It's also stupid.
Which is very stupid.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, that is the way of things.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, yeah, anyways, I just think it's really stupid and not irritating, but I guess, that's okay. That's part of them being irritations. But a positive thing,
yes.
Last night I watched a movie called Soul, which is by Disney and a company called Pixar. It's an animation company. And yeah, it came out the 25th of last year.
Okay.
And I thought it was going to be like a fun animated movie, which, I mean, I love them. I know you don't really like animated movies.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed them. And it actually had a really good moral story to it.
Okay.
That I realized you don't have to be a kid for it to actually hit you. Because I think more and more animated movies are being made with adults in mind as well.
It's actually they do them very cleverly. So I must say that's what I can appreciate. Is there's a level of humor for the kids, and there's a level of humor for the adults.
Correct.
And they run parallel. Yeah. And it's very clever the way they do it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
And then with this but so yes, I do agree with you on that. And there's another level, is that a lot of their topics, which they focus on their movies, on their animated stuff, a lot of them have ramifications not just for someone who's 6, but for someone who's 60 or 45, whatever it is, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody hasn't watched it yet, well, this is a spoiler on it.
Yeah.
So no, because I mean, I hate listening to something and they don't warn you it's a spoiler. I had that
true.
when just before I was going to go watch, not just before, like I was thinking of watching these Sixth Sense.
Oh, yes.
And I was listening to a review or something like that, and it came out of nowhere, and I was told actually the biggest part of that movie, which I don't want to really hurt anybody else because it hurt me, so I'd rather you watch it without knowing the truth. But I was told the exact underlying, that like big moment of the whole movie, the whole twist. And because I knew the twist,
like the whole movie just falls flat.
It's pointless. It's like watching, for example, a reality show like American Idol, for example.
Yes.
But they tell you on the first episode who's won.
Win?
So for the next 12 episodes, I already know that she's won. So it's kind of like, So that's what happened with the Sixth Sense, and that pissed me off to the nth degree. I almost found out the show's email address. I was going to freaking email them, but I didn't do it because it was just a bit lame.
I think that reviewer needs to be named and shamed.
Holy shit, that was just it's the worst because I was so excited to watch it. I was told it's like, dude, this is like, and with M. Night, Shyamalan.
Yes.
He always has the majority of his movies. At the end, there's a twist that makes you go, oh.
Yeah.
And he does them well. Okay, fine. We know not all have been good.
Yeah.
Like the last Airbender. The last Airbender. Yeah, no, the last Airbender.
My one for him that was just completely dire was Lady in the Water.
I enjoyed it, but it wasn't that great. I
was
agree with you.
I was like, I'm never going to get this hour and a half back.
No, well, the last Airbender, the fact that they actually made the last Airbender a white child, when actually in the original
comics,
he's not. Exactly. So anyway, that was his first problem of a multitude. But going to a positive one of Soul.
Yes.
First of all, the music is great. It's all jazz based.
Oh, cool.
It's like all jazz based, and what's interesting is the pianist and the music composer /
music director.
Thank you very much. Of the Steve. It's a talk show called the Steve Colbert Show, which is a nighttime show.
Oh, it's one of those like
talk shows.
Jimmy Kimmel,
exactly, but
all that kind of thing.
Exactly, and his director wrote almost every single track for the whole thing.
Cool.
Like he did jazz because he is jazz.
Yes.
So the majority of all the music and the compositions and everything is by him.
Very cool.
Mr. John Baptiste. Yeah. So it's all based around jazz, which is what I thought it was. But actually within about 10, 15 minutes of the story, it gets actually into the other understanding of the word soul, which is your soul.
Oh, okay, cool.
And the whole thing is about that. And it was actually really, really good because near the end, the main character is like, okay, you know what? Well, if I play this one show, then I've made it. Then I have done, like the meaning of my life. Has built me all the way up to this, and it's going to be epic.
Yeah.
He plays, he leaves, and he said to the one band member, he says, but I still feel the same as if I did an hour ago. He says it was amazing playing, but I thought that after all this build-up, this is why I'm here on Earth.
Yeah.
This is my purpose. This is my direction, and I found it, and I'm playing it. And he said, it just feels empty.
Yeah.
And it was such a powerful thing, where the whole a vibe and the whole thing behind the whole story really is for people to realize that just living in the now, that if we're living to do one thing, or we feel, because that has been a question in my life for a long time. It's like, so why was I made? Why did God make me? What is my purpose? What is my purpose? Because when I find my purpose, then okay, then I understand why I've been made. But the whole thing of the movie was so clever, and it made me really think a lot last night. Basically, the whole thing was saying that is just being in life. Is just why we're here. So yes, we do have things to achieve and to do, but if we're like that guy, focusing on that, for him, music was his life. That's it, And when he built himself up to such a point, he has finally made it to the, that one club. The band is there. He's playing like in front of thousands of people. He's reached it.
Yes.
And when it all happened, and he left the club,
it's like
he just felt like, no, there has to be something more than this.
Exactly, because then you've got to then that's what that's what takes us to the next thing.
A lot of the time, we just have to go out every day, and you know what? Just the point being in all this, number one, watch the movie. I know you have like a big idea now of what it is, but you need to watch it, and it's brilliant how it's been done. When you can watch it with your kids, and you can be brought, and you can bring up your kids, and to really have a discussion with your kids, like, you're just on here on earth right now just to enjoy earth.
Yeah.
Just to enjoy life.
Yes.
Don't tie yourself down to having, you must, do this, and you must be this, and then you must earn this, and you must live like this, and have like that, because then otherwise we are living in a world that we lock ourselves into.
That's it.
I think we can lock ourselves into this little, into our little cage, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where we just know, okay, when I achieve all of these things around me, well, that's obviously why I am here on earth.
Yeah.
And that's crap.
Yeah.
We're actually on here, earth, number one, I believe, just to enjoy being with other people. Just to, enjoy, life and God and everything around us.
Yeah.
And yes, at the same time, we have our own skills. We have our own passions, but they are not who we are meant. They should not define who we are. Yes, I love music, Yes, I love whatever it is. But if I'm going to let that define myself, what happens one day when you can't play music?
Exactly.
Then
right.
what?
Yeah. Very true. I've gotten stuck in that, being a passionate musician.
Yeah.
I've often let music, the fact that I'm a musician, I've often let that be my identity.
Yeah.
And then
so what happens?
Lockdown, coronavirus hits, and suddenly you can't play music, and you're like, oh, flip.
Yeah.
Then you start questioning a lot of things.
Exactly. Which is actually probably good.
It is good. It sort of it brings some perspective, and like, well, you're kind of more than this passion and this skill.
Yeah. So little kids movies, they have evolved to a thing where you can actually sit down with yourself and say, wow, okay.
Well, based on that, I've got a feeling that this is a Pixar movie that I'm gonna watch.
Bring it.
Have you got it, bro? Maybe I can get it from you after this podcast.
Damn right, you should watch it with us.
Woohoo! Anyways, I can go and practice some enlightenment at home over dinner, sitting on my laptop, and get in touch with that.
There we go, dude. Brilliant.
Oh man, enlightenment. That's a big thing, especially these days.
Yeah. Definitely.
Considering the age that we live in.
Yeah.
Of enlightenment and new information.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that I'm so interested in at the moment.
Okay.
And I liken it.
I liken it. Sorry.
No, I'm positive that's a word.
It is a word.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, carry on.
Jeez,
sorry, carry on. Beautiful. Lovely.
I liken it to the period of time that we're living in now, we've had these periods in history where something's happened or something's been invented that has literally changed the course of human history, changed the way we live our lives, changed the way we think about things. We could probably take it all the way back to the invention of the wheel. Okay, without the wheel, we wouldn't be nearly as far as we are now. But the other thing that I've been thinking about is when we live in this age of enlightenment, when it happened the first time around was the invention of the printing press. And people are going, okay.
Yeah, what is that? Sounds so old. Break that down.
What happened was when the printing press was invented and perfected. And
do you know when that was?
That was in 1450. Boom, baby!
Well written down. I like
it. By a guy by the name of Johannes Gutenberg, which basically it was called the Gutenberg printing press. And what this did was it enabled information and specific. Well, okay, let's say this way. Let's say it this way. The Bible was one of the first sort of mass-produced books available. So information was able to be literally mass-produced and printed and distributed much faster than it ever was, because stuff was written. Books were copied mainly by hand, by scribes. These really educated, this very small handful of educated people who could write and read, and then that was the whole thing. But then, that took forever. Imagine scribing out an entire copy of the Bible.
Yeah,
which
meant
it'd
be more than one person.
Yeah, but still, it would take a lot. Which meant that the average guy, the average sort of member of the population, did not have access to that.
No, you would have to be.
And they had to rely on the teaching of the church.
For sure.
And they weren't in a position to even think for themselves. They were like, oh, well, okay, they're more educated than me, therefore I suppose that's true.
Sure.
Printing press comes along, new ideas start being shared, and people go, wait a second, this guy's talking about this, which kind of conflicts with what I'm actually believing, and I'm believing that was told to me here. Maybe I should look into this. And then everything like that. So, they basically taught the slaves to read, which is in a nutshell, So, my whole thing with this, with a new age of enlightenment, whether it was back then or even now, basically causes people to think and even live their lives differently because of new data, new information, and then proven results. Like you start hearing about things that you hear these new ideas, and then initially you're like, oh please, that's so ridiculous, and you hear more and more people talking about it, and then you see how that new data is actually reliable, and then you're like, oh flip, maybe I should maybe there are some things in my life that I need to be rethinking, and therefore changing your thinking. And that's like that. So
okay, carry on.
So basically what happened was, when the printing press happened, it caused new information, new ideas to be shared very freely and very fast. So it was and amongst your average people, but then also amongst people like scientists and engineers and doctors. Okay, fine, it was distributed. It wasn't distributed with the speed of the internet, but put on ships, sent to other continents, all of that kind of thing. So you finally had people in different parts of the world learning about new ideas. And let's just see what else we got here. This was basically what we could see. This is the first time information was going viral. Okay, not as
when
mass printing started.
Gotcha. Yes.
It was the first experience of like this new idea in a month's time suddenly found itself in another country thousands of kilometers away,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of thing it just snowballed like that. Books ended up being cheaper because mass production just obviously cheapens things.
Yeah.
Literacy amongst common people.
Who? The word literacy, and you can't even say it. That's just an oxymoron. Lettuce, damn it.
Is that what I said?
It was close.
Sorry, man. Literacy.
I wouldn't be sorry. It's your topic. It's quite alright.
Thanks for just keeping me on the straight and narrow.
Of
I
course.
appreciate it. So you had literacy almost there. Amongst the common people started improving as well.
Yeah.
And then you had new ways of thinking. Were easily shared, and across borders, across continents, everything. And see what else we got. It was also the other cool thing about this was very hard for books to be controlled and censored, because this whole thing happened so quickly that your governments and people in power it happened faster. The spreading of the ideas happened faster than they could actually go, hey, well, hold on a second, we don't want you to think like that.
Yeah.
And so, it was difficult for all of that stuff to be censored. So I thought that was pretty cool.
But now, are you seeing a link between then and now?
I am.
That's
yes.
where I'm hoping that
Yes.
you're going here.
Sorry.
Because I think it's fascinating.
Yes.
It's interesting, but there has to be some kind of a correlation, I'm guessing.
So basically now, with us living in the internet age, think about it. The internet, for the last 20 years, from about the year 2000, that's kind of like where it really took off. I mean, when I was back in high school in 1995, the internet was tiny.
I was doing nothing, yeah.
But even at that point, I discovered that through one of my mates who had the internet, I could get guitar chords and tabs.
I thought you were going to say something else. So you got the tabs and I got the nudes. Okay, that's fine.
Oh, well, so did he. So
mine was more than fun than unless you were playing with it, with your G-string.
Listen, we
kind of
listen. We all know.
Linking both together.
We all know how obsessed I was with playing guitar as soon as I started. So anything else kind of just faded.
No, I am proud of you for doing that. I didn't have that much of a willpower between music and nudes. So, yeah. And by the way, they weren't really nudes. They were like, oh my word, they were.
Jeepers. We just don't know where it's gonna go.
So I remember the first magazine which I saw when I was coming. I mean, the first magazine is in the first nude magazine. Don't worry, this isn't overly sexual, so don't switch off. Rowan, you can keep on listening. Mary can take a break. So I was coming home from school the one day, riding down the hill, like my road, and there was this magazine lying on the floor, and it turned out to be, I think it was a Hustler, which is like a freaking back in the day magazine. And at that time, the country, I think there was like some law as well,
it was banned, yeah.
Printing thing as well, if you want to go down that.
Yeah, and banned pornography and all of that.
Yeah. Is that you weren't allowed to have pornography. So the closest thing that that a little schoolboy could see would be the breast, but then there would be stars on the nipples.
That was Scope magazine.
Scope, Hustler, they were all reasonably the same, and it was all pretty much like stars on the nipples. It just makes me laugh because I can really see the whole breast. So
I know.
It was just dumb. But anyways, at my age, which was about 12, I think, was the first time when I ever saw soft porn, basically.
Yeah.
That was kind of like it. So I didn't really think much more about music after that. I don't think I got into music until after high school. No?
Yeah, I think we
we
all had moments like that.
Yes.
Don't worry.
So that is thanks and very much
real.
to the printing press back in the day. So it definitely has its fun parts in this.
Definitely, yeah.
With stars on top.
So, and so now we live in an age where data, pick your pronunciation, is one of the most valuable commodities in the world. Whether it's the information that you give to a service provider, and then they sell that on, so that you get spam phone calls and all that kind of thing, and you wonder where the hell they got your number from, and all of that kind of thing. Social media, all of that. And we've got more access to more information than we ever have in the world. We really have, and it's on our phones. We are
like from when would you say from the like early 2000s. Well, where we are now is just way. Well, yeah.
I mean, if you think of the leap that's happened from 2000 to 2021, it's only 20 years. It's nothing. And look at
it's gone crazy.
And look at what's happened. And there are some people who actually question whether the human race is actually able to handle this information era that we're in. Like, can we as human beings actually handle?
So far, so good.
I don't know. And so now, because of this information, it causes new ways of thinking, just like what happened with the printing press, bringing new information to the masses.
Yeah.
And then it causes us to throw out or sort of stop believing old ways and bringing in new ways of thinking.
Yeah.
And changing our minds, and therefore changing our beliefs, and then changing our lives. We're in an era where everybody is selling something, whether you like it or not. If you're on social media, you're selling the brand of me. Whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on Instagram, whether you might be monetizing it, or you might not be. But everyone, if you're on social media, you're a brand, which is a very interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah, but it's also very interesting where you can also choose what brand you want to be.
That's also
you
true.
Can choose exactly who you want to be.
Oh yeah,
because I've been watching a series called, a reality show called the Circle, and it's very much the Circle, and it's very much based around social media and who people think you are on your photos and your status. Is it actually who you really are, and what you will do to win this game?
Right.
To who people really think you are or not, is it actually very, very fascinating, and there is actually also another. It's a really good documentary on Netflix, which is also called social media conversation, or something along those lines.
It would be interesting to watch.
I'll get the right name for it, but cool. So what you're saying, but it very much depends how you want to show yourself on social media.
Yeah,
because what you can show me actually might not even be anything.
Absolutely, yeah,
which is also dangerous.
Yeah, so. And so, because of new ways of thinking, we can't help but if we change our minds enough about something different, about a certain thought or whatever, we can't help but actually start living our lives in a different way.
Okay.
Because we've got this new belief, and it's like, well, I'm not going to think like that anymore. I'm going to think like this, and then it's actually going to shape the direction of our lives in big ways, small ways.
Well, depending on how easily you are swayed.
Also true.
So what you're telling me right now, I'd be like, okay, but that's a load of crap. So it really depends. I think it depends on the type of person, on how they react to life and so forth. So that's how I see it.
I think once you've learned the new information about that new way of thinking, and then you can then decide for yourself whether. So it's not just you're blindly influenced.
Exactly.
It's just by, okay, fine, I've seen this information, I've seen this new information.
And you can make up your own choice from there.
Okay, I see how this now makes sense.
Therefore, 100%.
And therefore, you can then.
See, that's true. Yes.
Yeah, but I think it's definitely. I think a lot of people also very just kind of blindly.
Exactly.
They don't sort of put their critical thinking cap on and go, hang on a minute, let's just stop and think about this for a sec.
If it feels good or makes you feel happy, then I don't mind not believing it, because why wouldn't it be true? Because I feel happy.
Feels before reals.
Exactly. Exactly.
That was another subject for another podcast I wanted to talk about as well. Just to
write it down.
Just to sow the seed there.
Don't sow any seeds in this freaking podcast. Sick bastard. Carry on.
Okay, and I mean, and sort of, so now we're at the point now where if we just have one question about a particular, maybe something happened to us, something affected us emotionally or mentally or whatever. Just typing one question into something like Google or something in YouTube can send us down this rabbit hole of different ways of answering that particular question.
Yep.
Which has definitely happened to me in the past. So, and that results, that can result in then changing core beliefs about yourself. That can be, and when you, especially if you've been thinking some way and you find a new way of thinking, and you discover that new way of thinking is actually true, it can actually be very painful and sometimes even depressing. When you discover these new truths that no one really actually told you. And now you're like, because then what happens is, in my experience, you kind of, I see it everywhere. And it's like, oh, flip, they're right. And it's like, oh my word, this is now this new truth that you have to deal with, kind of thing. Sometimes, people will even go through the actual 5 stages of grief, trying to sort of deal with new ways of thinking. So
grief. Explain that.
The 5 stages of grief is
which I know about, and I think most will know about that.
Yeah.
But what's that got to do with around truth and
no? Sometimes if you discover a new way of thinking.
You might go into 5 stages of grieving.
No, sometimes it happens. Yeah.
What's an example? That'll really impact you to a point, besides being told that your dad had never died, but then you find out a year later. Sure, there'll be grieving. If you tell me some random truth, oh my crap, now I didn't know that was true.
I think it went.
I don't think it's going to an extent of 5 stages of grieving.
Well, I think if a lot of people, if someone has invested themselves in one particular way of thinking for a long time, and then changes that, it might not get that hectic.
Because that's like really, like if you really are at that level, you've lost your marbles. No, really. Like if you're going to get to like such a point, okay, I mean, I'm just saying it would have to be really something big and deep and soul destroying that it'll go through like that. But I mean, to actually find something like that, I think it'll be very, that would be I need to go see a therapist or something besides that.
So but that let's see what else we've got here.
So while you're talking, the documentary which I was talking about is called The Social Dilemma. It's on Netflix.
Dilemma. I think I have heard of it.
This documentary drama hybrid explores the dangerous human impact of social networking, with tech experts sounding the alarm on their own creations. So they actually have people from the major social network companies actually explaining how they do things, why you finding like how does that person know my name or my number, or how does Google know where I am, or it's all down to social media and what we share.
Cool.
But I'm not going to lose my shit if I find out that Amazon knows where to send my next phone, and I'm going to go through like the 5 stages of grief. Because whatever. Carry on.
So that's what I've just been thinking about lately, and just because of also some of the podcasts that I listen to, where we are in this new age of information, and can we actually handle what we're in and all of that kind of thing, and how
So,
that the information, the invention of the internet has.
so then, kind of, what would you want people to leave after this almost finished podcast?
What do you mean?
Well, as in, what is your kind of, okay, what would be a takeaway from this? As in, like, well, what are you trying to get across to people that when this finishes, what would be, a takeaway of where you are coming from, or do you not really have a view on either way? This is just more of a educational kind of, okay, cool, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's just more an observation
Okay.
of where of how of where we of just
fair
where
enough,
we
fair
are and just it's even more of a rabbit hole to go down.
No, it's very big, and unfortunately, we don't have a rabbit hole
I
time because yes, this could go very long and very
So-
deep. But I think for what you've scraped on the surface, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I think just that access to information and the fact that ideas can be shared so freely, whether those ideas are true or upsetting or offensive or positive or negative, it doesn't matter. Those ideas are out there whether you like it or not, and they can't be censored in any way.
I think a lot of this though boils down to, okay, this is just my view. A lot of it boils down to how a child has been raised, how you actually perceive things in life. Because I think a lot of these, lies and whatever. It's like this, like the whole thing of conspiracy theories. There are people that's just people will dive into. No, but like the biggest one is, for example, that the moon landing wasn't actually real. It was filmed in a
studio. That was a big
in
one.
a sound theater in LA.
Yes.
That's what a lot of these wacky people think. So my point is, yes, there might not be. Absolutely, there will be a bunch of things out there. Some are lies, some are truths, some are like, But I think that it only impacts people who really don't have the capability or the awareness, or call it whatever you want to, that they'll just believe something that...
Yeah.
I think my takeaway is that you just have to always check what you're believing in before you believe in it.
Yeah, absolutely. The critical thinking, step back and go.
Don't just believe because there's an article on VH1 that says, but because you know what?
Yes.
Unfortunately, a large part of media and a large part of truths out there are perpetuated.
There you go.
Perpetuated.
So we help each other out on the spaghetti.
Perpetuated.
Junction. We have Gareth helped me out with my literacy,
and
I helped him
with my brain
with his perpetuation.
Wow, very nice. That a lot of what is out there is perpetuated by social media. To me is bigger than just this whole, the printing press, because at least it was printed out. God, that actually doesn't make sense. At least with the printing out and stuff, there would be scholars and people going through it, so it would be harder, I think, to just believe nonsense. Where we are now, social media rules not everything, but and especially for people young, age up to like 30, probably 30s.
Yeah.
Especially in the 20s, for example.
Yeah.
A huge part of how we believe life, how we see life, how we act, what we do, is told us to us on social media, and in most of it's just. The best picture of social media and the lies would be the Kardashians, where a lot of people eat, sleep, like this is what it is to live life and to be everything's right and everything's good.
Well, there you
this
go.
is what I believe. Okay, not everyone will fall for that.
Yeah,
that's just an example. But social media perpetuates a lot of what young people can choose to believe or not. And I think that's what the dangerous thing is. People must actually, as you say, step back and go, okay, what am I actually believing?
Exactly.
because this goes everywhere.
And that whole thing
It impacts you everywhere.
And believe it or not, the whole thing of the critical thinking does not happen as much as it should. And we are in that sort of feels before reels, where it's just like, it makes me feel happy, so I'm just going to go with that instead of going, I'm going to sit
I mean, like, how
being
can
that sort of rationally minded and go.
What I didn't make sense. I mean, how can it not make sense? Because this is what I've known for the last. Well, where did you learn it from? Who told you that? And I think the more that you boil things down, that's just why I believe if we're brought up well, not brought up well, but if we have had a strong adult positive influence, be it a mum, our dad, an aunt, an uncle, a foster parents, whatever it is. If we have had that in our lives, that healthy influence, I think it'll be a lot harder to mess us up than just to go with the flow of other people.
Definitely.
And then I also think it's vitally important that we also watch ourselves, that we don't sow a bunch of crap to other people without even thinking.
Absolutely, yeah.
We just got to be so careful.
That's it, yeah. And on social media, everyone's a specialist in something now.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Even if they don't know what they're doing, they're like, oh no. Yeah. So that's why you kind of got to vet your guru.
I mean,
you really got to check, like, okay, is this person that I'm following or whatever, are they kind of?
Oh yeah.
Are they what they say they are?
And in fact, I think in an upcoming episode we'll look more into social media.
It's a good idea.
And as to like exactly what it is and the lies around it, but more the impact that social media has had on us. Or
it's going to be
our kids or our friends.
Yes.
And just the way that social media is actually helping lead the world where we are right now, even if we don't know it.
Social media is
huge.
Everything.
So so that's what we'll definitely be having in the next few episodes coming up. But
awesome.
as for episodes, this has been a good one, pal.
Yeah, it has. Very cool.
Yeah, it has made me think as well, which
good.
Most of them
awesome.
do.
I hope that
I say that normally to you and just to be nice, but actually this time it actually has.
Oh, fantastic!
Made me think a little bit more as to social media. No, but it's been good. It's been good, and I think the bottom line is that parents need to be more aware of what of what their kids are believing.
Definitely.
As friends as well. I think the older you get, the more we see through that facade of social media.
Yes.
But still, we just need to be very much aware of why do we actually believe what we believe.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with going, why do I believe what I believe?
Exactly.
Let's sit down and really just
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I believe that this episode is almost finished.
Guys, like, comment, subscribe, share, and thank you so much for listening to our episode for today.
And the next one coming, our next episode, which is episode, what number, Bruce?
Next episode
is what?
Is, can you believe it? Episode 10.
10!
We cannot believe it. We're on 10 episodes.
We're excited. I think the last one or two people who listened to our previous episodes might also be excited. But hey, I don't care. This has been fun. We're on 10 already, so stay very much tuned for that coming up, because that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to delve into our country and very a light look as to how we talk.
That one's going to be.
It's going to be fun.
That one's going to be.
So make sure you get ready for that coming up the next episode.
Cool, guys. Thanks very much. We'll catch you on the next one.
It's been good.
Thank you, man.
It's been Spaghetti Junction. My name is Gareth.
My name is Bruce. Have a
good one, guys.
Bye, guys.
Ciao, ciao.